You know that feeling, right? You're sitting in a drive-thru, drumming your fingers on the steering wheel, just wondering, what is taking so long? Well, that single moment of frustration is actually the focus of a massive amount of engineering, tech, and psychology. So let's pull back the curtain, because what happens between that menu board and the pickup window is a really fascinating hidden science. Ah, yes, the eternal question. It feels like a law of the universe, doesn't it? You pick a lane, and like clockwork, the other one just starts flying by. It's so common it actually has a name, Irma Bombeck's law. But is it just rotten luck, or is there something more going on? Well, that feeling, that mix of anxiety and pure frustration, is a huge, huge problem that restaurants are absolutely desperate to solve.
And look, this isn't just you being impatient. As this famous old Federal Express ad puts it so perfectly, waiting is a deeply negative human experience. It really gets under our skin. So for restaurants, managing that feeling isn't just about good customer service, it's about basic survival.
And this is why they're so obsessed with it. For many of the big fast food chains, a staggering 70% of their business comes directly through the drive-thru. That little lane of asphalt isn't just a nice to have, it's their financial lifeline. Every single second you spend waiting is a potential crack in their business model and a risk that you just won't come back.
So to really get how they speed things up, we first have to understand the battlefield. And that battlefield, it's happening right inside your head. It's not just about the actual minutes ticking by on a clock. It's about how long that wait feels. Welcome to the psychology of the queue. It all kind of boils down to this one simple but really powerful formula. Your satisfaction equals your perception of the wait minus your expectation. Think about it. If you expect a 10-minute wait but it only feels like 5, you're thrilled. But if you expect a 2-minute wait and it feels like 5, you're fuming. The entire drive-thru game is about mastering this equation, managing what you perceive and what you expect.
A researcher named David Meister pretty much wrote the book on this, laying out these core principles of waiting. And they're almost universally true. Time you spend doing something feels shorter. Anxiety stretches time out, and unfair waits, those are the absolute worst. So keep these principles in your back pocket, because we're about to see how restaurants use every single one of them to engineer our experience.
Okay, so before they can start messing with our brains, they have to solve the physical problem. How do you get a bunch of 2-ton metal boxes from point A to point B as smoothly as possible? This is the hardware layer of the drive-thru. It's all about the physical design. And it turns out the actual layout of the lane itself is the first huge decision they have to make. Restaurants generally pick from one of 4 main designs, and each one is a different bet on how to balance pure speed with things like cost and the space they have available. First, you've got the classic single lane. You know this one. It's simple, it's straightforward, but it gets overwhelmed really easily. Then you have the tandem model. This one's clever. It uses the same single path, but it manages to cram in 2 order points and 2 windows. It's basically a way to double your capacity without having to buy the lot next door. Then things start to get a little more complex. The Y lane lets 2 cars order at the same time, which is great, but then they have to merge into one line. That can create a bottleneck, and it can be a total nightmare for employees trying to match the right bag of food to the right car. And then you have the big one, the dual lane. 2 totally separate systems from start to finish. It's incredibly fast, but man, it takes up a ton of space and needs nearly double the staff to run it. So as you can see, picking a layout is a massive strategic decision. There's no one perfect answer. Each option forces a trade-off. A simple single lane is cheap, but it's slow. A dual lane is super fast, but it demands a huge investment in space and people. It's this constant balancing act between how much it costs and how fast you need to be. But the physical layout, that's really only half the story. Once the concrete is poured, the real battle moves inside. Modern drive-thrus are just packed with technology, all designed to shave precious seconds off of every single order. And this right here perfectly illustrates the 2 sides of the drive-thru coin. On the left, there's you, the customer, hopefully relaxed and happy. But on the right, that's the employee's view, a screen where every single second is being measured, tracked, and analyzed. For them, it is a constant, high-pressure race against the clock. And these timers are way more than just stopwatches. They create this intense, gamified environment. Managers can track how fast their team is by the hour. They can set up competitions between shifts and even rank their store against others in the region. You'd be surprised how much a little friendly competition can speed things up. And now, new technology is completely changing the game. Take mobile ordering. A recent mystery shopper study found that at Chipotle, just using their app to order ahead cut the average drive-through time by a massive 2 minutes and 48 seconds. That's not a small improvement. It nearly cut the total time in half. That is a monumental leap in efficiency. Okay, so we've got the physical layouts, the hardware, and we've got the technology, the software. Now let's connect it all back to that psychology we talked about. How do restaurants actually use these tools to manage our perception of the wait, to make it feel shorter and less stressful, even when it isn't? It all comes back to this one golden rule of waiting. When your mind is just sitting there, unoccupied, every second feels like an eternity. But when your brain is engaged with something, time just seems to melt away. Pretty much every strategy from here on out is built on this one powerful insight. So how do they occupy your time? Well, first, they get you started. Just handing you a menu or having an employee greet you in line signals that you're in the system. The wait already feels shorter because, in your mind, the service has officially begun. They also explain the wait. An unexplained delay just breeds anxiety. But hearing, "Sorry, our ice cream machine is broken," is frustrating, yeah, but it's understandable. And finally, they make it feel fair. A clear, single-file line removes that stress of worrying that the person who pulled in after you is going to get their food first. Okay, so all of this theory, the engineering, the tech, the psychology, it sounds great on paper, right? But what's the bottom line? Does it actually work in the real world? Let's look at the data.
A super detailed study of a fast food restaurant in Lima, Peru, put these very ideas to the test. Before they implemented a plan to improve their process, the average order time was over 23 minutes. But after they optimized everything, they slashed that time down to just over 19 minutes. A 4-minute reduction per order, that is a huge win in this business.
And this wasn't just guesswork, not at all. They use these incredibly complex simulation models, like the one you see here, to map out their entire process. They analyzed every single step, from taking the order to bagging the fries, and they ran thousands of virtual scenarios to find every possible bottleneck. This is serious high-level industrial engineering being applied to your burger. But here it is. Here is the most powerful number of all. Before all the improvements, 785 customers got so fed up with waiting that they just gave up and drove away. After the changes, that number plummeted all the way down to just 75. We're talking about hundreds of paying customers and thousands of dollars in revenue that they saved. And that, right there, shows you the real-world stakes of this waiting game. So the next time you're in a drive-thru, you'll know you're not just waiting in a line. You're participating in a highly engineered, psychologically tuned system. Which leaves us with one last question to chew on. As technology like AI and predictive ordering gets even smarter, are we heading toward a future where the wait time just drops to zero? Will the fast in fast food one day have no speed limit at all?